All right, I thought it would be fun to do a little video to share with you some of the things that I've been doing since listening to a podcast from the Gut MD and some of the things that he's taught in regards to how to restore our gut health and to make our microbiome more healthy. In addition to eating a lot of different plants, he said that one of the main things that we can do that will help us is to eat fermented food. And he said that this food should not be pasteurized because then it doesn't have the healthy bacteria in it that our gut needs. So he gave a recipe and directions as to how to make the sauerkraut, and I thought I'd just kind of go through what I've done, and in a few days, probably about a week, I'll open it up and see how it is and let you know how it turned out. So I'm going to turn the camera and show you what it looks like now that I've got it finished. All right, so there are the jars that are starting the process of fermentation. So what he said was to buy an organic head of cabbage and to chop it up as finely or as coarsely as you want it for your sauerkraut, sorry. And then he said that you should use water that doesn't have chlorine in it. And he said that if you have chlorinated water that's coming out of your tap, that if you boil the water, it will remove the chlorine from it. So I had to do that because our water is chlorinated here in Bismarck. So I boiled my water, and then I found out that you cannot use iodized salt. I did a quick search this morning because I wanted to make sure that I was doing it right. And so I ran to the store and I bought some of this sea salt. And one of the things that I learned when I read through what types of salt we should use, it said to read the ingredients to make sure that it's just salt in the container, that nothing has been added. So I bought this at my local grocery store. It was about $2. And anyway, so what he said to do was, after you've boiled your water, or if you're using water that is already clean, to start adding the salt to it and to taste it and get it to a salty flavor that you like. He said try not to get it too salty because we don't need to have excess salt, but just a little bit of salt so that it will flavor the sauerkraut. And then, so I did that, and then I cut up the cabbage. And so I bought this tool. Let me see. Okay, right here. So I got this tool on Amazon, and this was amazing. So it fits inside of the wide mouth jar and also the smaller jars. It has two different sizes on each end, and it allowed me to really pack the jars. And so I was able to get a lot of cabbage in the jars. So one head of cabbage gave me 2 quarts and then a half pint. And so then I, because I knew I was going to be trying this, in addition to buying this handy dandy pressing tool, I also bought these glass discs, and these are for the wide mouth jars. And so what you need to do when you're making the sauerkraut is to make sure that all of the cabbage stays underneath the brine. And so after I packed it in there and poured the brine on top, making sure that it was all covered, I then put one of those discs on top, and it's causing the cabbage to stay underneath the brine. Now for this pint or half pint size jar, you can see that there's something dark in there, and I didn't have a smaller glass piece to put in that jar, and so I went outside in my front yard and I got a rock that was large enough to hold down the cabbage but small enough to fit in my jar. I washed it, and then I put it inside my jar. So I'm gonna see how that turns out. Now you'll notice that the jars have different types of lids. So with the half pint, I'm just using a metal lid, and I've got the screw top on there. And so every day I'm going to have to burp the cabbage. So I'm gonna have to take my lid off and release the pressure that's building up from the fermentation process. With these lids, I bought these lids on Amazon, and the reviews were mixed in regards to them. Some really liked them. Some said that mold grew with them. So I don't know how they're going to turn out, but they're supposed to be maintenance free. So they have a little slit here on the top. And so as the pressure builds in the jar, then they're supposed to naturally burp themselves. So I got a dry erase marker and I wrote on the jars when I started the sauerkraut, and the doctor said to check it in about a week and to see if it's reached the point of turning into sauerkraut. So I just marked it so that I'd remember when I need to check that. So that's the sauerkraut that I've been making. And then I decided that I was going to try to sprout lentils. And so I got a half a cup of dry lentils and put them in to this mason jar. And I filled it with warm water. And then I've covered it with a piece of nylon from a pair of pantyhose that I can't wear anymore. And so I've covered that, and in 12 hours I'm going to turn the jar over and release all of the water out of there, and then put more water in there, rinse the beans, and then refill it and let them soak again. So super excited, and those should be ready in 3 to 5 days, it said. Let you know how it goes. So those are just a couple things that I've been trying to do to help me so that I can help to heal my gut in hopes of getting my health back. Hope you have a good day.